So when you're on altitude, it's a stressor on your body and your body is working. And when your body works, it needs fuel. You will burn more carbs on altitude. With anything you do, you will add an extra amount of carbs to burn. Let's say on a general or an easy day, when you're not doing too much, there's 200 kilocalories of carbs extra that you burn on that day. And if you don't replace that, or you want to get very lean and you go on altitude, it seems very easy. You will lose a lot of weight very easily because your body is working harder, but it's also very easy to underfeed yourself on altitude because you're burning more. And if you try to eat less, it's very unlikely that your body is capable of building red blood cells at the same time. When your body is struggling to just keep it together, unlikely that you will gain those red blood cells. So I always, when I go on altitude, I try to go in that altitude camp lean, that I don't need to lose weight over there. And I try to be anabolic in a way that you eat actually it's slightly bit more than you burn. This way is the most easy way for your body to add something extra, the red blood cells that you want. And because of all the hours, I've never really got out of an altitude camp fatter than I entered the altitude camp. It only takes you one day to realize that you burn more carbs when you're on altitude than on sea level. Also when you're training. Let's say when I do an easy ride on sea level, I have about 60 grams of carbs an hour. When I do that on altitude, I am even in a good shape. I hunger bunk after 2 hours. So you just need more carbs to have the same trigger. Even with 75 or 80 grams of carbs an hour, you wouldn't overfuel to still boost your fat metabolism like that. Also with altitude, you want to create more red blood cells because there is less oxygen in the air. It's harder for your body because technical, but there is the same percentage of oxygen in the air, but there is just less molecules in the air. So less molecules of oxygen are entering your lungs every time. So it's harder for your body to bounce oxygen to the red blood cells. So your body starts to build more red blood cells. So it's more likely that it can bounce to oxygen. And next to that, on short notice, what your body wants to do is lose fluids. Get fluids out of the blood, lose the blood plasma, because like this you get higher concentrations of red blood cells. Not more red blood cells, but they get more concentrated in the blood, and like this it's more easy to uptake the oxygen out of the lungs. And then on the longer term, more blood cells are coming, so you will regain the plasma and get to normal levels again. But when you're taking account that your body wants to lose the fluids and you go for a hard workout, sweating a lot, when you're not hydrating a lot at this moment, it's very easy to become dehydrated because already your body wants to get rid of fluids. And actually you don't want your body to get rid of the fluids because you want your body to be struggling with uptaking the oxygen, that it's building more. So being hydrated at all times is very important at altitude. I'm a professional athlete, and most of the time when I'm on altitude I will have staff, I will have soigneurs with me. Sometimes they will follow the whole training ride with the car, but most of the time we just say certain points that we see them. When it's an important workout and when it's hot, I'll drink 2 hours on the rides. Most of the time altitude training camps are also close to races, so I'll drink 2 bottles an hour or even go up to 3 during the intervals to also train the body, train the gut to uptake all this liquid. If you're training on a moderate pace, drinking 2 bottles an hour, you're quite sure you will not get dehydrated in this training ride. And if you train always with 1 bottle or even less, a lot of professionals train, let's say 1 bottle every 2 hours. If you go to a race that's hot, you can never expect that suddenly you can drink 3 bottles an hour without having problems with your digestion. But I would say when I'm training on sea level, I would always go for 1 bottle an hour. 1 bottle, I talk 1 small bottle, just over half a liter. I would also often go to the try to dehydrate my body to the end of a long ride. The long ride is always a nice opportunity to go low in hydration at the end of the ride, to restore that plasma volume and overdo this, that your body holds more plasma, which is helping your performance. But on altitude, of course, that's an extra stressor. On altitude is a stressor, so you would do this less often. Only at the end of a long training camp on altitude, you would also search for these heat stressors or dehydration stressors. But let's say as a rule of thumb, 1 bottle extra every 2 hours would be good at moderate intensities. And when you're going at a high intensity, try to fuel to the max that you can hold. A good training for your body, and also like this you're sure you're not getting dehydrated. And the pump station is like a gas station, is never too far away. When you're in Europe at least, it's not too far away, and there's always water available.